If someone had told me a year ago that I'd be spending our 10th anniversary planning my quiet escape instead of mapping out our future, I would have laughed in their face. Back then, I was still foolish enough to believe that love could be held together by effort alone, that if you poured in enough, it would hold. I still believed that the heart, like a house, could be repaired with the right hands and enough patience. I planned something intimate, not flashy, but meaningful. Laura always said she loved quiet places soaked in history, places that whispered stories from their bones. So I booked a private dinner at Holloway House, a beautifully restored Victorian estate just outside the city, candlelight. A string trio, a custom 3-course menu built around dishes from our first date. I didn't tell her any of this. I just said be ready by 7, dress nice. She raised an eyebrow at that. Laura always liked surprises, or at least she used to. When she finally stepped out of the bedroom that night, she looked like a page torn out of a high-end fashion magazine. Black satin dress that hugged her curves just right, lips the shade of dark wine, eyes unreadable. I remember thinking this is why I still fight for us even when it hurts. We drove mostly in silence. Not an angry silence, just still. It's the kind of quiet that hums like tension beneath your ribs. I wanted to say something, anything meaningful that might set the tone for the night. But I decided to let the evening speak instead. When we arrived, she looked around and actually smiled. "This place is beautiful," she said, stepping into the warm light. "I know," I replied. "Thought you'd like it." The table was set just for us. A string trio played soft jazz in the corner. She laughed lightly, clearly impressed. "Wow, you really went all in." 10 years, I said. Felt like it deserved more than takeout and a Netflix rerun. Halfway through the entree, I slid a small box across the table. Inside was a custom wooden music box that played Yellow by Coldplay. Our song war, at least. It used to be. She opened it and stared, her face softening into a smile. But her eyes, her eyes were someplace else. The night carried on. She laughed, sipped her wine, nodded along to the trio's rendition of Can't Help Falling in Love. On paper, it was perfect. But people aren't paper. When dessert came, she excused herself to the restroom. I watched her walk away, phone already in hand, the screen lighting up as soon as she was out of view. That moment scratched something in the back of my mind. Earlier that evening, I'd glanced over while she was checking directions and saw a message flash across her screen. "Just missed you today." It was from a contact saved as L. I told myself it could be anything: Lily, Liam, Lacey, Lisa. But Liam had a nerve. Liam had once worked with Laura. Charismatic guy. A little too smooth. Laura had always dismissed my concerns with a laugh, saying I was being paranoid. But I'd caught him once, giving her a look no married woman should ever receive from another man. I let it go back then. She came back to the table a few minutes later. "All good?" I asked. "Yeah," she said, smiling. "Just needed a second." Wine's stronger than I thought. But that smile never touched her eyes. A while later, during a lull in the music, she leaned in and asked, "Do you ever wonder what we'd be like if we hadn't gotten married so young?" I looked up, startled. She still wore that distant smile, the kind people wear when they're talking more to themselves than to you. "I don't regret it," she added quickly. "Just sometimes I wonder. That's normal, right?" I nodded, my stomach twisting. "Depends what you're wondering about." She laughed softly, finished her wine, and turned her face away. That was when I knew this night wasn't a turning point, it was a funeral. After dinner, we moved to the parlor. I had secretly invited a few of our close friends to join us for a post-dinner toast. A surprise. Something I thought might light a spark. Familiar faces arrived: Mark and Jenna, college friends. Diane from Laura's office. My cousin Alex with his wife Nina. People who had always felt like family to us. I thought Laura would be touched. Instead, she looked thrown. She played along, those mild, hugged, poured drinks. "You really pulled this off," Jenna said. "If Greg did something like this, I'd marry him again." Laura laughed at that and said, "Be careful what you wish for. Marriage isn't all champagne and string quartets." Everyone chuckled. I smiled hollow inside. Then Mark stood, glass raised. 10 years, Laura. Say something. You've got the best stories. The room clapped. Laura stood, swaying a little from the wine, and lifted her glass. 10 years, she said. Honestly, it feels like 20. A few polite laughs. No, really, she continued. When I married Justin, I thought I was making the smart choice. He was stable, loyal, safe. I kept nodding, unsure where she was going. But here's the thing, you can marry someone for all the right reasons and still wonder what would have happened if you'd taken the risk instead of the sure thing. The room went quiet. She smiled faintly. Who knows, if Jimmy hadn't moved to Canada, maybe I'd be raising this glass to him instead. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Jimmy. Her ex. The wild one. The one before me. I hadn't heard his name in years. But hey, she finished, raising her glass higher. Here's to 10 years with a good man, a really good man. The kind who never made me question my safety or shake up my world too much, which, depending on who you asked, could be a compliment or a warning. There was a beat of stunned silence. Someone muttered, "Wow," under their breath. I smiled, the kind of smile you wear when someone slices you open in front of a crowd, but no one notices the blood. We didn't speak in the car. She leaned against the window like nothing had happened, like the night hadn't just set something inside me on fire. When we got home, she poured herself another glass of wine. You want one? She asked. Casual. No, I'm good. In the living room, I sat across from her. You want to talk about it? I asked. She blinked. About what? That little toast, I said. Part where I was apparently the safe harbor you settle for. She sighed. Come on, Justin. It was a joke. You take everything so seriously. No, I said. You do things seriously. I just finally noticed she shifted, defensive. You're reading into it, am I? I asked quietly. Who's Elle? There was the smallest flicker in her expression. What Elle? The one who texted you earlier tonight. Missed you today. Want to tell me who that is? She looked away. It's Liam. Relax. We've talked a few times. That's it. Just talked? Yes, just talked, she said sharply. You've always been weird about him. I said nothing. Then I pulled the dinner receipt I'd found the day before from the drawer. You know what bothers me the most? Not the lies. It's that you use me as a punchline in front of people we both love. She stood, angry. You're making this bigger than it is. I looked her in the eye. Was it him? Were you with Liam? She opened her mouth, closed it. That was all I needed. The next morning, she left for a yoga retreat with her coworkers. No goodbye, just see you Sunday. I stood in the doorway and watched her car disappear. Something inside me shifted then, not with a bang, not with shouting, just a quiet, final click of realization. I wasn't living in a marriage. In a story she'd already rewritten without me. While she was gone, I sat at her desk. Her tablet was there, charging. No password. She trusted me, believed I'd never look. She thought I was a safe choice, who never asked too many questions. The messages were all there, flirty, familiar. You get me in a way he doesn't. Last night was exactly what I needed. Still smells like cedar and lemon. There was a photo, the two of them at dinner, leaning in, faces inches apart, laughing like they were in their own world. And then the Nifa selfie she'd taken on our wedding night. Can you believe I used to think this was enough? I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I saved everything to a secure email. Every message, every photo. I deleted the conversation from the tablet. Then I sat down in her chair. I wasn't broken. I was done being blind. That night, when she came home, I made her favorite pasta, poured her wine, asked how the retreat went. She smiled, said it was peaceful. I nodded. Good. I wasn't planning revenge. I was planning freedom. I called Kevin, my old roommate, lawyer now. Sharp. Quiet. I told him I needed options. No drama. Just strategy. Wanted to walk away with my dignity. I wanted clean. Over the next few days, I built my case timeline, screenshots, receipts. Then I called in a favor from Mark. I asked him for a small gathering at his place on Sunday. Casual. He didn't ask questions. When the day came, everything was ready. The flash drive, the envelope with the signed separation papers. At brunch, Laura laughed like nothing had happened, but I had never been more awake. Midway through the gathering, I stood up, told everyone I wanted to share something. The lights dimmed. The screen lit up first with our wedding photo, then the anniversary dinner, then the text, then the photo. Laura froze. Didn't speak, didn't breathe. I walked toward her, pulled out the envelope and handed it to her. "Legal separation," I said. "No rush. Sign it when you're done pretending." Then I walked out. I didn't go back to the house. I had already packed a bag and left it at Daniel's. 3 days passed before she texted, "You blindsided me. We could have talked. You made me look like a monster." She never said I'm sorry. Then came the guilt. Liam was just a distraction. It didn't mean anything. Can we reset? But we couldn't, because it meant everything. I never replied. Subscribe for part 2.